What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Tuesday over here. We got quite a bit to talk about in this market. There is going to be a major move coming in the market, and I'll be pointing out to you why that is on the charts. We're going to be taking a look into some trends in altcoins, which are probably what you guys are here for. We're going to be talking about some altcoin setups, their price targets, and the altcoins in this video, which will be later in this video. So make sure to stay around for that. It's going to be ICP, Internet Computer. We're going to be talking about Polkadot. We're going to be talking about Aerodrome and see what is going on in these markets. Some I have covered before and some new ones. If you guys do have any technical analysis requests, you can drop a comment letting me know what you guys want to see, and I will pick one of you guys to do every day. And we're also going to be talking about some news for the crypto markets. I'll give you guys my instant reaction. We also have a market updates, which right now Bitcoin currently is down, pulling back about just 1%. Ethereum pumping regardless. However, it is trying to break above that daily 200 SMA, which we've been talking about for quite some time. And of course, that major move that is coming for the markets right now, I've talked about this yesterday. It is that stock market move, okay, which will very much very likely affect how Bitcoin reacts, which is the driver of the crypto markets, and that will affect your altcoins. Okay, so if you hold altcoins and you don't really think you care about Bitcoin, well, I think you're wrong because Bitcoin is the driver and you want to be rooting for Bitcoin. Now, let's go ahead and dive into some news first and take a look into what could be happening in this market. Okay, just based on what other analysts are saying. Okay, I'll give you guys my instant reaction, and if I can back it up with some charts, I will. Now, this one's by Cointelegraph. Bitcoin traders now see 107K retest before new all-time highs. I think it could happen, right? Because Bitcoin has actually just reclaimed that daily 21 SMA, which I've been talking about. I think that's currently at about 106, 107 in that range. So it could happen that, we go back down there to retest, right? We did just get a very solid candle close above that moving average. So that makes me, pretty confident about where this market could be going. Of course, I still don't want to see the stock market collapse, right? Because we're going to get into that pattern right now, and that could drag Bitcoin down with it. Now, let's go ahead, go to the next piece. Last piece was by Cointelegraph. This next piece also by Cointelegraph, but I'm finding these news on TradingView. Okay, so if you guys don't have TradingView, you guys might want to consider getting a subscription. Not only will you get charts and indicators, which is basically what I have been using TradingView for the past over 5 years. There's also news if you guys are interested in that. There's also other traders' ideas. And if you guys are newbies, I think this is a very good way to learn technical analysis and get some education about this market if you guys want to be here for the long run. Okay. I do have an affiliate link in the description below, and if you guys use my link to sign up, I will get a commission. I do, they do have plans for under $20 per month, so check it out. Now, Trump-backed American Bitcoin accumulates 215 Bitcoin since April launch. I mean, I think that's bullish for Bitcoin. It's not that it's gonna pump the price instantly or immediately, but it's definitely bullish news. Mystery whale opens $300 million leverage Bitcoin bet. Is this James Wynn altcoin account? This is also by Cointelegraph. I don't really know who James Wynn is exactly, but I have seen some of his Twitter or X posts. I think they're pretty entertaining. I think the last one I saw was he was gonna get possible a liquidation at 103,000. I think he actually got that liquidation. So I don't know. I mean, this is pretty interesting. Without really diving into the details of this piece, right? So, let's just read a little bit, right? Let's see. This trade has reignited speculations about James Wynn, a high-profile leverage trader who has recently lost $25 million in a separate liquidation on June 5th. So that must be what I was talking about. That 103K liquidation price. So this is interesting. So yeah, let's go to the next one. This is by Dow Jones Newswire. Bitcoin price rises. What the crypto needs to hang on to those gains. Barons.com. Well, I think first of all, Bitcoin needs to hang on to 107K, 106K in that range. Basically, that daily moving average has actually just broke on top of in order to see the next level up, because that's basically the definition of an uptrend, right? You see higher highs and higher lows. And if Bitcoin retests that higher low and holds on to it, the next logical move is a higher high. Now let's go ahead and go to some charts here. Stock market charts. Very important. I've talked about this yesterday. I've started a countdown for 72 hours yesterday because S&P 500 mini futures ES1 exclamation mark is the symbol. It is trying to avoid a breakdown of this rising wedge pattern. If it breaks down by today, which this pattern is running out of room, we have 2 more daily candles left, according to what I have charted here. Okay, and if it actually breaks down by today, the price target, the breakdown target, would be about 5,700. Okay, that is not going to be good for Bitcoin and the altcoins. However, if the bulls are actually able to pull this off and break above this pattern, I would expect some pretty significant bullish price action for stock markets, for Bitcoin, and of course the altcoins. What do I think is likely to happen right now? I think, from the daily time, on the daily time frame and the 12-hour time frame, it looks like the bulls could actually invalidate this possible bearish divergence here. Okay, you guys can see that we're at a higher high on the price action charts. We compare that with the previous high right here. It's already exceeded it on the RSI, and that's what I rely on a lot for weakness, for price action weakness, right? On the 3-day time frame, on the weekly time frame, there are still bearish divergence signals, but I mean that has continued running for quite some time. Okay, and I can't it's only fair to say that, right? It's been running for quite some time here, so all you need it's a basically a very short-term move for the bulls to actually pull this through. Okay, now let's go ahead and go to Bitcoin. Pulling back right now. I think it's still just waiting for that stock market move here. I think traders in the market are pretty jittery, including myself. I want to see what happens with that chart first. But we did get a very, very solid candle close yesterday. We had gotten way on top of that daily 21 SMA, 107K, which is the blue line here. Okay, and it's still setting a higher low since this drop here on this daily time frame, so that is still looking good for Bitcoin. Let's go over here to Ethereum is still trying to break on top of the daily 200 SMA. If it does, that's going to be looking very good for Ethereum right now, and it's on top of it, but it's not a solid candle close. Okay, you got to get a solid candle close on top of 2650. That's the orange line. All right, total 3. What's happening in here? Still, it's kind of lagging behind Ethereum, right? We did have this falling wedge breakout. Price target is going to be about 925 billion. Trying to get back on top of the daily 200 SMA again at about 895 billion. So that is within the price target range. Let's go ahead and go to some altcoins, what you guys have actually came here to see. All right. First of all, we're going to be taking a look into ICP. What has gone on in this market? Let's come to the weekly time frame, where there was a pattern I pointed out a couple days ago, or more than a couple of days ago, actually. I've talked about this market a couple of times recently. And 3-day time frame. Price target out of this bigger falling wedge pattern is still going to be about 25 bucks ICP if it breaks out by this point. Okay. Now, it did break out of this smaller falling wedge pattern. Okay. That I probably pointed out on the daily time frame. Price target is about $66.50 right above. Okay. It's already kind of moved along to that price target there. Now, falling wedges typically break to the upside, okay? But, of course, there's still going to be a chance where it breaks down, of course. And price targets are estimates only. It could be more, it could be less. Gotta be, just taking into consideration of these scenarios that can happen. Nothing in this market is a given. It's gotta be, I personally risk manage and take into consideration of the scenarios I've seen, and I've seen quite a bit of scenarios in the past 5 years. But of course, all of this is just my personal opinion and speculations. None of which of what I'm saying here in this video is financial advice. So do your own due diligence and thinking. Let's go ahead and go to Polkadot and see what's going on in this market. Not much has really changed, okay? On a higher time frame, this pattern is still valid. I think we're going to move this measure move just somewhere down along this top trend line here, since we're still pretty close to the bottom of that trend line. Falling wedge, price target about 19 bucks for Polkadot. It did break out of the smaller falling wedge within the bigger one. Now, falling wedges are going to be some very common patterns you guys will see if you guys actually start charting these coins. And what that tells you is that after the coin has actually been in an extensive downtrend on that time frame, it is likely to reverse. Okay, so it's a very common pattern that I think you guys should be spotting, because it could be very helpful in terms of planning a position. Daily time frame, Polkadot, price target still valid, $10. And smaller time frame, it did break out of this smaller falling wedge pattern as well. And the price target for the smallest one is going to be about $4.80 Polkadot. Let's take a look into Aerodrome. Now, of course, what I'm saying here for these altcoin setups, I always take into consideration of what Bitcoin is doing. Because if Bitcoin dumps, I don't think any of these setups matter, right? So, Bitcoin first, and then altcoin second. Aerodrome. Weekly time frame. Falling wedge pattern, again, okay? If it breaks out by this point right here, which is way later in this in the future, but it really doesn't matter because this is a pretty gradual falling wedge. So if it breaks out by this point, the measure move is going to be about $4.25. Do we have any small patterns within Aerodrome right now? This looks like a falling wedge breakout that has already happened. For a smaller time frame, so probably something like this. Just gonna do this on the fly here. Okay, so something like this that has already happened. Price target is going to be, it looks like it's already probably met its price target because it's basically retraced back to the opening of the pattern. There you go. So basically, so that's how it works, right? Technical analysis. A lot of times you could get some pretty accurate movements or price targets. And in this case, it did. So what happens if the price action reaches its price target? What I do is I chart the consolidating pattern at the price target and see if it's going to be pulling back or if there's going to be more upward price action. Okay, so that wraps it up for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you guys have any comments, questions, requests, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys on the next one, and have a great day.